First, I want to say a huge thank you to all our channel members for your support. Also, a special thanks to Machiko for the 20,000 super thanks. Your kindness motivates me to bring you more stories. Now, let's dive into today's intense story. Pay close attention, because this secret is a matter of life and death. When my father's revenge is finally over, he will tell me. I only live for that one single goal. Alone in the dark, Ayla sat on her bed and wondered could she do it. She had to. For him, suddenly, a voice from the hallway called out. My lady, the Duke has arrived. Allah calmly replied, show him in. I don't know my name or even my father's, but I know one thing for certain. I live to engrave the name of the man who must die into my soul. Roderic Alan Wen entered the room. Father's back. Why are you sitting in the dark, Ayla? That man stole everything from us. Every single thing. My daughter. He cut off my right hand and forced me to live as a hunted criminal for the rest of my life. He must pay. If you knew your real name, you might hesitate. I will only tell you when it's over. Allah shook off the memory and told herself I must succeed. She looked up and said, you're here, but a doubt gnawed at her. I'm not Allah. Why do I feel this? Have I grown attached to him? No, stop thinking like that. This dagger is a treasure, a part of my father. My father gave me this blade, a weapon he never let anyone else touch except for me. I can't hesitate. I must fulfill his expectations. Roderic stood up and asked if she had something to tell him. I have been here before, but for some reason, I feel nervous. Allah shook her head silently. Such a fool. He comes running the moment I call for him. The strongest swordsman in the Empire, the protector, and the head of the Wen family. A man who watches everything with sharp eyes, yet acts as a gentle father to his only daughter. He has no idea the girl he found 2 years ago is a fake, or that she is here to kill him. It hurts. Suddenly, Roderic stopped and asked, is someone else in this room? Allah glanced at the dark corner, stuttering out a lie. No, I'm alone. Roderic pulled her back, stay behind me. She panicked. He sensed someone. If he finds him, it's over. I have to end this right now. She drew her blade and lunged at Roderic. He reacted instantly, grabbing the sharp metal with his bare hand. Roderic frowned in confusion and asked, Allah, what is this? Why are you doing this? She gritted her teeth. Don't call me that. I'm not your daughter. As Roderic stumbled back, she watched him fall. No matter how strong his body was, he couldn't survive this poison. Roderic whispered, Allah, please listen to me. Hiding the pain in her eyes, she yelled that she was never his real Ayla. A figure emerged from the corner. Roderic Alan Wen, I have finally finished you off. I told you I would destroy you at any cost. I have finally kept that promise. Roderic looked up. Is that you, Byron? He replied, yes, it's me. Glad you remember. You shouldn't have forgotten the friend you betrayed so easily. Allah froze. That was her father's name. Ophelia, my position, my right arm. You took everything. I spent years planning the most painful way to kill you. And today, I finally did it. Goodbye, old friend. You won't be going very far. With those words, Roderic took his final breath. Allah thought he's finally gone. Byron turned to her. My daughter, you did well. Let's have a toast to celebrate. Tell me my name, she whispered. Byron flashed a sinister smile and handed her a glass. Drink up. We can talk about your name later. As she took a sip, he smiled. Good. Your real name is Aing Wen, the only daughter of that fool Roderic Alan Wen. I kidnapped you and raised you as my own just so you would murder your own biological father with your hands. That is my true revenge. Allah coughed up blood, her heart filled with pure horror and shock. What was he saying? Poison? Why? I am Aang. Falling to her knees, she grabbed Byron's cloak. He remained cold, not even glancing down. Every time I looked at you, I felt nothing but disgust. Those blue eyes are exactly like his. Killing you today is my final mercy to you both. Aang writhed on the floor, coughing as if her lungs were tearing apart. Byron stepped on her body. The only thing I like about you is how much your hair looks like Ophelia's. Don't worry, your mother will be happy with me soon. My vision begins to fade. Suddenly, a woman with white hair burst into the room, screaming. Who is she? As Byron forced her out, I wondered if that was my real mother. She is still alive, but knowing that doesn't matter anymore. Just as the thought crossed my mind, a bright light flashed before my eyes. I reached out for it. After what felt like forever, I finally opened my eyes. I was lying in bed, staring at a ceiling that felt both familiar and strange. I looked around the room and sat up, trying to process things. What on earth is happening? I was supposed to be dead. Then, a maid's voice spoke. Miss, you're awake. Wash your face and come out quickly. You have morning drills before breakfast with the master. I called out to Laura, confused about training so early, but I finished all my training when I was 16, right before I moved to the Duke's estate. Wait, Laura looks so much younger. She noticed me staring. Why are you looking at me like that? Hurry up and get dressed. I nodded. Fine. But inside, I realized something. I look much younger too. I tried to call for Laura, but she slammed the door shut. With no one to ask, I had to figure this out myself. The day I died was definitely the day before my 18th birthday. It was the coming-of-age ceremony at the Weiss Haven estate the day the heir is announced. A chaotic time, but I definitely wasn't this small then. That means I looked down at my reflection in the water basin. I've traveled back in time. I'm a child again. I've returned with the truth, and I've been given a second chance for revenge. Outside, Laura called back. Come on, miss. Do you hate morning training that much? I ran toward her, panting. I'm coming. I stopped suddenly, making Laura frown. Did you just talk back to me? Wake up before I report this to the master. Think about how disappointed your father would be. I stayed silent. Laura was always like this. She yelled again. Are you even listening to me? I thought to myself, she acts like she's the one in charge, threatening me. Before I lived at the estate, I didn't realize how bad this was. But now I know. I'm not actually Byron's biological daughter. That's why they treat me like trash. I forced a smile. Yes, I hear you, but inside, it burned. I used to try so hard to please them, faking smiles and walking on eggshells like a total fool. But no more. I'm done pretending to be happy. I'll follow their orders for now, but I'll be the one who decides where my blade strikes. I'll make the most of this second life. This time, I'll be the one to end that monster. Byron. In the woods, a man named Cloud was waiting. You're finally here? Did you oversleep? You're late. I thought to myself. Cloud, the man who taught me everything. He's a monster for training a child to be an assassin. But I bowed. Sorry I'm late. Cloud looked surprised for a moment, then spoke up. I heard you're having lunch with the master today. Since that's rare, please eat enough. I smiled. Cloud was always weirdly obsessed with me. Then Cloud stopped. Starting today, we are moving on to weapons training. I was stunned. What? Weapons training? Are we really starting that now? Wait, my hands are clean. Before, I was so clumsy I was always covered in cuts. This must be the summer before I turned 13. I have 4 years before I go to the Duke's mansion. While I was thinking, Cloud said, now, warm up. 1 lap around the area, just like usual. I nodded. Okay, I got it. I know exactly when this is. Next, I need to check my current physical strength. I moved quickly through the trees. While running, I suddenly looked up and leaped onto a thick branch. My body swung once, and then I flipped up to stand firmly on the limb. I looked toward the manor and smiled. Thank God, my body remembers the moves. I can keep up perfectly. If I train hard, I'll be much stronger than before. Maybe I can even get to the Duke's house earlier than 4 years. I stopped suddenly. I muttered, oh, right. I can't leave yet. Byron put a curse on me. He only releases it right before I enter the mansion. I don't even know what the curse is or how it works. All I know is that if I betray Byron, I'll die. That fear has controlled my whole life. I thought for a moment. It's so strange. Why take off the chains before actually giving someone freedom? That wasn't the only anomaly. Byron's true identity, and the massive bankroll constantly backing his every move. The assassination plot was massive. His connection to my father, Roderic, does he truly hate reclaiming what was lost that much? My mother, a position he claims was stolen from him, his ultimate twisted goal. Questions flooded her mind. How could she investigate this? She was far too weak to fight back. Suddenly, Alla's heart skipped a beat. She scanned a corner of the estate. Wait, is that my room over there? Something is wrong. It looks nothing like my room. I know mine is the only one on that entire floor. Unless I'm mistaken. Or it's a secret room, she whispered. A realization flashed that had to be it. If she found that hidden passage, everything would change. She could uncover Byron's plans, even eavesdrop through the stone walls. With that thought, she leaped down. She landed softly and hurried away, planning her return for tonight. Rushing back to the training grounds, Alla splashed into a puddle. Oh, a puddle, she muttered. She shook the water off her foot. Suddenly, her eyes froze. The water showed her reflection, but just for a second, Alla saw Roderic. Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered under her breath. We look so much alike. How did I not recognize my own father? I'll return no matter how dangerous it gets. I will find my way back. Back at training, Cloud was waiting. Next to him stood Laura, wearing that same insufferable expression. One day, I'll truly kneel and beg for forgiveness for everything I have done. Inside the office, Byron looked toward the door. Alla walked in with a bright smile. Did you sleep well, father? He replied. I did, sweetheart. Come here so I can look at you. She thought, I'll come back and love them properly next time. Byron calmly mentioned Laura's report about her oversleeping. You were almost late for your morning training session. What happened? Alla bowed her head respectfully beside him. I am so sorry. Father, please forgive me. I had a nightmare. Byron raised an eyebrow. What kind of nightmare? She hesitated. A truly terrifying one. I dreamed you threw me away because I was no longer useful. Hearing this, Byron let out a smirk. He patted her head, his grip a bit too firm. My dear girl, forget that dream right now. I'll never abandon you. You are my only hope. Alla looked worried. Then you forgive me? Byron replied. Just don't let it happen again. Wake up on time and focus on your training. You are the only one who can carry out my revenge. He shoved her head away roughly. Now go eat. You need to be well fed to grow strong. As she stood, servants brought food. Byron frowned. More meat? I'm sick of this. Don't they have anything else? He missed the hatred burning in Alla's eyes. That night, while brushing her hair, Laura said, Our master is so incredibly kind. He forgave you so easily and even ordered your favorite special ice cream. It shows how much he spoils you. Don't let him down. Ayla replied flatly, I understand. I'll do my best. Laura yanked her hair. You've been slow and disrespectful all day. Is there a problem? Alla clenched her fists. I have to endure this. If I lose my temper now, my entire plan for revenge will crumble. She replied, I'm just exhausted. It was my first time training with real weapons. Laura turned and walked away coldly. I'll let it slide this once. Sleep now, or you'll be late again tomorrow. The door slammed shut. Alla exhaled. Alla thought, one day, they'll pay for everything. But right now, I have more urgent business to attend to. She walked to the wall, frowning. It looks like a normal wall. Where do I even begin? A secret passage would be hidden well. After searching for a moment, Alla let out a small gasp. A crack in the stone. If there's a gap, there might be a draft. She felt for air, then suddenly stopped. No wind, but this gap is unusually wide. A construction error, or is something hidden inside? It's bigger than it looks. She found a hidden switch behind the wall. After pressing it, Alla thought happily, it worked. I found it. Her finger caught on something as a mechanism groaned. Suddenly, the wall vanished, and Alla tumbled forward into the dark. She grabbed a nearby chair, catching her breath. That was close. Too close. It's open. A secret tunnel I never noticed. I found it fast, but a lamp is too risky right now. She sighed and stepped inside. As she walked deeper, her doubts grew. Where exactly does this lead? In a nearby room, Cloud's voice echoed. Something is bothering me. Sir, it's about the young lady. Byron looked up. Cloud continued. She trained with weapons for the first time today, but she's far too skilled. It's unbelievable for a 12-year-old. Byron didn't care, letting out a cold scoff. Because she's Roderic's daughter, right? The noble blood of a master swordsman passed from father to daughter. His smile vanished into cold indifference. Let her be. The faster she improves, the sooner she stabs her father. Claude bowed. Yes, sir. Byron asked, anything else? He shook his head. No, sir. Good. Go now. I need rest. He bowed again. Yes, sir. Once they left, the office fell into heavy silence. Moonlight flooded the room as a shadow appeared by the window. Ayla slipped inside, whispering, talent? Even as a hero's daughter, I have no gift. Back then, I was scarred and slow, constantly begging Byron for his help. I only got strong by breaking myself for him. She shook it off. Focus. Focus on clues. Byron's desk is the best place to start. Searching through the desk, Ayla paused. Why are there so many letters? I thought he was hiding with no outside contact at all. I've considered your offer, but I can't ignore the wolf guarding the lion. Ayla frowned. The hunt failed, so the offer is dead. Are you too old to remember? You were part of that lion hunt. Don't forget I still have the evidence. I know your fear, but my hound is capable. The wolf will be handled. Ayla pieced it together. The hound is me. The wolf is father. His death was planned. Byron, what are you plotting? Nobles always use codes in their letters. In her past life, she learned families used animals as symbols to avoid trouble. Small animals like deer or badgers were the usual symbols. She'd ignored the lessons, but the teacher mentioned the wolf and lion meant powerful families. Back then, Ayla only pretended to listen. Now, she felt deep regret. She searched her memories but couldn't recall who the lion represented. Forgive me, parents. She turned to leave when a voice called out nearby. Ayla peered through a gap toward the servant quarters. Is lying to a child right? Laura's voice followed. Why say that? Forgot what her father did? Ayla recognized Caphalia. Don't you want your revenge? My husband, your brother, was killed. Cord spoke, but Laura cut him off. After Dad died, we ran like criminals. I was only 8. Laura, you don't remember. She snapped, looking down on me because I was a child. Caphalia says if we fail, we're traitors forever. I won't do that to my daughter. If you care for me, you'd agree. Our family can't be branded as traitors forever. Ayla gasped. They're a family? She saw no signs of this before. Laura sobbed. Dad should be a hero. I'd even serve the enemy's daughter for that. She wept. Cloud comforted her. I'm sorry, Laura. Stop crying. Ayla hid, but accidentally made a sound. Cloud froze. Laura asked, Uncle? He signaled for silence. Did you hear that? Caphalia saw a messenger bird. My skills are still sharp. I'll check. Cloud shrugged. Just my imagination, I guess. Who'd eavesdrop here? Only flightless birds live here. Morning light broke through. Ayla lay awake. Those voices echoed in her head. Forgot what he did? My husband, your brother, was killed. We ran like criminals at 8 years old. Was any of it true? Did her father really kill them? If Byron's revenge is right, what am I? Suddenly, an angry roar erupted. Laura opened the door. You are awake, miss. She stopped abruptly when she saw that Ayla was already sitting up. Finding no excuse to nitpick, she switched topics. The master is currently furious, so you will be dining alone today. Ayla asked what happened. Laura just shrugged. Who knows? Did you perhaps do something wrong again, miss? Ayla felt a sharp pang of guilt. Do not tell me he found out I was inside his private office. Laura called the room a rat nest and ordered a cleaning. Ayla knew her attitude would be much colder if he knew. She blurted out that it was Laura's job. Laura froze. Ayla thought that today should have been a normal day. Unable to think of a comeback, Laura shouted in anger. Fine, then go to your training session instead. She kicked her out. In the forest, Ayla thought her slip of the tongue was careless. Now her head was pounding. Laura is beyond help, but I need to know the truth. I will just have to go and ask Cloud. Cloud was reporting to Byron. The letter arrived 10 days ago. She fainted suddenly and still has not woken up yet. He yelled that his Ophelia had never been sick a single day in her entire life. She was always so vibrant. Byron refused to believe she was bedridden and blamed them for reporting it so late. Cloud said they hurried. Byron cut him off, ordering the carriage. I cannot visit my own sick Ophelia? Ridiculous. I do not care about Roderic's plans anymore, even if it costs me my own left arm. No, cancel the carriage. I cannot just walk into that bastard's trap like a fool. That is right. Cloud agreed. Byron said they needed to change their entire plan immediately. No more hesitating. Ophelia must be waiting for me, practically going out of her mind. The hunt begins with this move. He pointed at the map. Cloud let out a shocked cry. But we still do not have the agreement or cooperation of the others yet. Byron smiled madly. We must force their hand and drag those cowardly old men into this. He is just a young lion with no teeth. Destroying him to set an example is not hard. Show them our power. Cloud hesitated. But sir, please consider. Byron scowled. What is it? Does your noble knight code keep you from killing children? He grabbed Cloud's collar. Still stuck on Allah? Her hair really does look just like Ophelia's hair. Beautiful, isn't it? It is easy to go soft when you see how alike they truly are. Cloud resisted. Byron growled that if that was not it, he should throw away his useless pity. Then he shoved Cloud away. You have no right. Men like us have no room for such pathetic, ordinary emotions. If you truly want something, be ready to do anything. 1 second of hesitation, and someone will snatch her away. Meanwhile, Allah was still warming up in the forest. A sudden breeze surprised her. She stopped moving and looked up to enjoy the cool air. Elsewhere, under the bright sun, a driver called out, Sir, the wind is picking up. Please, come over here. A cloak fluttered. Winfred smiled and said he was coming. Meanwhile, Byron was still issuing his warning. Cloud, remember my words. A sinner must be handled using sinful ways. Hiram ran out, shouting for his dear son. How could I ever live without you? I simply cannot. Have you checked his luggage again? A man in a butler outfit confirmed everything was ready. Seeing his worry, Winfred said the trip was only 1 month. Hiram groaned that a month was far too long. Winfred changed the subject. I am more concerned about my teacher's family. Hiram mentioned the lady of the Wen family woke up this morning. Winfred was relieved, though he still felt guilty for not visiting. He shook his head. It is useless. Her illness is strange and might even be contagious. They will appreciate your kindness. All I want is for you to return safely. My dear, sweet son. Winfred smiled, promising to return soon. As the carriage left, Hiram lowered his voice to continue the report. The butler bowed. Though she is awake, her condition is critical. It is possible that Hiram cut him off. Send the most skilled doctors to the Duke and report any changes. This could affect our nation's fate. The maid answered. The man beside her only grunted. Should we tell the young master? He might be angry if he finds out late. Hiram said no. My son is still so young. At his age, he still chooses hope over cold reality. Back in my room, I lay face down on the bed, lost in thought. I guess hope isn't something someone like me gets to have. Clow is tougher than I expected. I tried to read him, but got nothing. Even though he showed up late, he cranked the training intensity way up. It felt like a punishment. And that's not even the worst part. Clow announced that by the Lord's command, I begin poison training tomorrow. Just thinking about it makes me want to scream. What on earth is happening? Poison classes shouldn't happen for years. The timeline is completely off. I buried my face in the pillow, whispering to myself. Did I change something I shouldn't have? Is the future changing because of me? I can't wrap my head around this mess. Absolutely nothing is certain anymore. Even with all my resolve, nothing about this is easy. In moments like this, I just wish I were there. Visions of Roderic and Ophelia calling my name flashed through my mind. I clenched my fists tight. I wish someone would just hold me and say everything's okay. After a moment, I laughed at myself. I'm so weak. After returning from that tragedy, the memory of warmth is still so vivid. I miss that feeling. I want to go back to that distant future year. Primus, a city on the western edge, high up in the mountains. It's named after the first great emperor, Primus Alpha Bad Pels. After founding the PS Empire, he left behind one final wish. I will become the guardian deity of this empire. Then the emperor vanished in the western mountains. No one ever found his body. It's hard to believe he actually became a god. Since then, the Pels royalty has a tradition. Anyone taking the throne must make a pilgrimage to Primus before their coronation. Only by meeting the guardian and completing the rite are they recognized as the true heir to the PS Empire. That's why a massive temple was built there. In my past life, my teacher mentioned that because of this legend, the city avoids trade. People only focus on preserving tradition. I muttered to myself, at least that's what I remember from the lessons. But why would Byron go there? I stared at the map on the wall, confused. 3 days after collapsing from exhaustion, I went back to Byron's room. Staring at the map, I wondered if this involved the hunting lion. When every other lead hit a wall, it seemed like he burned all the letters. Next time, I have to arrive earlier. Now I remember. This trip feels familiar. I followed Byron on his trips before, but mostly we just moved from place to place without a clear reason. Every time, my head was covered and I was shoved into a carriage. But once, starting from here, he made me drink a transformation potion, pure high-quality stuff. Then he just dumped me at an inn without explaining a thing. Back then, I felt so hurt. Why bring me along if that's all he wanted? I knew nothing but waiting. Back in the present, I wonder if he's afraid I'll run away while he's gone? Either way, if he takes me along this time, that works for me. If I can shake Clow off, I might be able to slip away. Just then, Byron called out from the next room. Clow, are you out there? He answered immediately. Did you call for me? I froze. That's Byron's bedroom, right next door. The walls are paper thin. Then Byron ordered him to get me right away. I need to see the girl. My heart skipped a beat. So sudden? Byron said he couldn't sleep without seeing Ophelia's silver hair. Panic set in. This is bad. Understood. I'm going now. Hearing that, I spun around and bolted. I have to get back right now. If they catch me here, I'm dead meat. In her room, Laura was drifting off when she suddenly jerked awake. There was a commotion outside. Claw's voice came through. Sister-in-law, let me borrow the key. Time felt slow, but I finally made it back to my room. I threw myself onto the bed and exhaled. That was too close. He's never come looking for me this late before. Clow warned him I might be asleep, but Byron said he'd go in anyway. Hearing that made my heart race. He's coming in personally? What do I do? Keep faking sleep? Or pretend I just woke up? How did I react in the past? When the father I loved came to see me, was I surprised or happy? Back then, it all felt like a beautiful dream. While I was overthinking, Byron pushed the door open. Ah, Ophelia. Hearing his voice right beside me, my face went cold. At the same time, Byron reached out, his hand moving to touch my hair. As his hand drew closer, an invisible weight crushed my chest until I couldn't breathe. Without thinking, my hand shot up to catch Byron's arm. He froze. His drunken face seemed to clear up a bit. Panic drained the color from my face, and I forced a fake smile. Oh, father, when did you get here? Did you come to see me? Byron asked in a low voice. Clow, who did I tell you to bring? He replied that you told me to call the young lady. He whispered back. Right. This child isn't Ophelia. It's not her. He stepped back a bit and muttered that he shouldn't have woken me up. Go back to sleep. I smiled and replied, Yes, father. Good night to you too. The lights in the room went out instantly, and fear washed over my face once more. Did he realize I was just acting? What am I supposed to do now? The next day in the library, as Ayla sat lost in thought, Cloud suddenly called out to her. Seeing no response, he grabbed her arm and frowned. What is on your mind? Dealing with poison is dangerous. So focus. Allah apologized guiltily, though her mind raced. She could not focus. What if someone saw her last night? Cloud showed no sign of suspicion, yet under her steady gaze, he suddenly turned around to face her directly. He stepped closer and whispered, "Were you just pretending that everything was fine last night?" The master was too drunk to remember, but be careful next time. He is not a sympathetic man. If he recalls anything, it is trouble, no matter how sad you are. Allah was stunned. Sad? Is that word really enough to describe the depth of this feeling? Silence made Cloud think she was just lonely or overworked. Ayla smirked. Does he think I am just some moody teenager? Cloud imagined her screaming in frustration, hating her father. Allah was speechless, her words failing her. She thanked him for the talk, realizing this misunderstanding was a blessing, though the whole thing felt strange. Why has father been acting this way lately? She asked. Is it because of me? Cloud shook his head. No, miss, it is not. Seizing the moment, Ayla pressed him. Really? Then is it someone named Ophelia? He lowered his head in silence. Allah pondered. Since Byron muttered her mother's name last night, this was her chance to ask directly. Please, just give me a serious answer this time. After a long silence, Cloud finally spoke. Yes, it is all because of her. Why you are here and why the master cannot face the truth. Now, open your mouth. Allah was baffled. What? Why? As she opened her mouth, Cloud popped a candy inside. She blinked. It was strawberry flavored. Cloud gave a small smile. Keep this our little secret. I snuck that treat just for you. Today's lesson is over. We travel far tomorrow, so save your energy. Go upstairs once you have finished eating and calm down. Before he could leave, Allah called out to him. Do you pity me? He stopped, thought for a moment, and spoke. The master once asked the same thing. I have thought about it deeply, but no, it is not pity. The door clicked shut. Allah bowed her head, wondering, what did he mean? How does he really feel? Like that candy, the feeling was complex, sweet yet tinged with bitterness. On departure day, Allah boarded the carriage. Byron announced they would leave once the bags were loaded. Ophelia agreed. Laura handed over a small vial. Please drink this. Miss, she let out a frustrated sigh. She reluctantly gulped down the vial, loathing this shape-shifting potion but knowing she had no choice. It tasted foul. As her hair and eyes changed color, Laura warned her that the effect would only last for one day. You must drink it daily. Do not look outside when your veil is removed. Allah nodded silently. Everything was prepared. Luckily, Cloud had already left, giving her enough time to finish the sedative. Sneaking away from Laura should go smoothly too. But can I really find a way to stop Byron's plan? I cannot confirm his plan without documents, but I can guess. Byron has few allies, only about 30 private guards. When he needs more muscle, he simply hires ruthless mercenaries. He did not bring much gold this time, only one bodyguard, Cloud. If anything goes wrong, I am absolutely certain Cloud will act alone. He is the strongest in the group, after all. If I keep following them, I might finally uncover the truth. Peering outside, she saw Cloud riding alongside. He tilted his chin toward the sky, gesturing for her to look up. Allah looked up with curiosity. There it was, a massive mountain peak, buried under a thick blanket of snow. The light shimmered off the ice like 1,000 diamonds. Looking back, she had never seen the world in her past life. As they reached the city at the base of the mountain, a sudden shout rang out. Halt! State your name and purpose for entering. Cloud urged his horse forward, introducing them as Count Mday and his family. The guards demanded papers and inspected the carriage. How long is your stay? Cloud answered, no more than 1 week. The questioning guard paused, looking thoughtful. Wait, have we met before? Cloud replied instantly. No, this is my first time here. The guard sighed, figuring he was mistaken. Cloud added that he simply had a very common face. After checking the carriage, the guard asked to see the luggage compartment. Allah noticed how thorough they were. Is it always this strict? After a moment, the guard announced that everything seemed to be in order. The other guard nodded. Fine, You may pass. Cloud rode ahead, giving a polite bow. I appreciate your hard work. As the carriage passed, the black-haired guard asked if he knew them. The other shook his head. His face was definitely unique. The first guard wondered if he was on a wanted poster, but the other laughed. No fugitive would dare come here with the army in town. Later that night, while the moon hung high in the sky, Clow opened the inn door and stepped out. He glanced up at room A, certain the young lady was under Laura's watchful eye. The lady was with the master, so she was safe. He needed to act fast. As he turned, Laura slumped to the ground. The door to room A creaked open. Tossing the empty sedative bottle aside, she scaled the roof, watching Claw's retreating figure while whispering, "Move fast, Chloe. I have some small, petty ambitions of Byron's to tear down tonight." Beneath the dark sky, Cloud glided silently over the roofs, heading straight toward a specific target. Ayla shadowed him closely, wondering where he was going. That direction is she suddenly froze, her eyes locking onto a brilliant flash down in the city. Ayla saw a child appear out of thin air. Teleportation magic? This kid definitely had a very special identity. Could he be the target? They mentioned a little lion, but this boy looked even younger than a typical child. There he goes again. She watched him closely, thinking hard. That alley ahead looked completely deserted and empty. At that speed, he was heading for trouble. Just as Winfred approached, Alla leaped into the air, diving straight toward him. Hearing a sound, Winfred looked up. Suddenly, a bright light from Alla's body flashed right into his startled eyes. The disguise wore off, and Alla returned to her true form. She landed and pulled Winfred into a nearby alley. Almost at once, Clue rushed up, knife in hand. He rounded the corner, but the street ahead was totally empty. Claws froze. Where did he go? Thinking he had the wrong location, he turned and bolted in another direction. Meanwhile, Winfred struggled in the narrow alley. Allah quickly hissed at him, "Be quiet. The assassin is still nearby." Winfred went silent at once, looking up at her with eyes full of curiosity and wonder. Feeling awkward under his gaze, Ayla blushed. "You will stay quiet, right?" After Winfred nodded, she finally let him go. He gasped for air and asked urgently, "Who are you? You fell from the sky. Please don't tell me you are an angel." Ayla stood there stunned for a moment before asking what he meant. Meanwhile, the royal knights were panicking, fanning out to search and seal the city under high alert. Demand cooperation from the citizens. If you spot anyone suspicious, arrest them on the spot. I, Alexia Non, take full responsibility. Just then, a knight shouted, "Captain, we have found traces of teleportation magic right over here." Alexia responded immediately, "I am on my way. Please, just stay safe out there." On a roof far from the chaos, Winfred grumbled quietly, "This is a total mess. I only wanted to sneak back home in secret." Hearing that, Allah said, "I am sorry. I will get you back if I can, but it would be bad if anyone saw me." Winfred shook his head. "It is fine. Do not worry. I snuck out, so this is on me. More importantly, are you hurt?" Ayla checked herself and realized her dirty clothes might give her away. She panicked, but Winfred told her to stay still. With that, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll. Allah looked at him, confused. "This is a magic cleaning scroll," Winfred explained. "If you tear it and chant, a light appears and turns into water to wash you." After a moment, Winfred asked with a big smile, "See? All clean." Ayla felt bad. This must be expensive, right? He ignored her, taking off his coat to spread it on the roof. "Sit here so you do not get dirty." Allah said shyly, "You do not have to do all that for me." Winfred kept talking. "What are you saying? Caring for a lady is the mark of a true gentleman. After all, please do not refuse my kindness. We still have time before I go back, and I really want to talk more." Hearing that, Ayla hesitated but eventually sat on his cloak. "You know so much for someone so young." Winfred smiled. "What was that? You are small too, but you sound just like an adult. How old are you?" Allah thought and replied, 10, or maybe 12, he exclaimed. "What? That means I am 2 years older than you. So how are you so incredibly strong?" Ayla was confused. He went on, "You land like a cat and you are super powerful. You are just so cool." She thought for a long time. "Am I cool?" Winfred nodded firmly. "And you are beautiful too. I am being serious." Allah blushed at his blunt compliment. Feeling relaxed for the first time in a while, she thanked him for the help and for cleaning her clothes. Winfred shook his head. "You should not thank me. After all, you are the one who saved my life. So please, just smile." They say knowing how to accept gratitude is a real virtue. While stood stunned by his radiant personality, Winfred quickly stepped back. "Sorry, I got too close again." Allah blushed and looked down. "I cannot look directly at him. He is just too bright and pure." Suddenly, Winfred reached out and held a necklace toward her. He smiled and said, "Oh, right. Would you please take this? It is a gift from someone you saved, a magic pin. I think it looks great on you." Ayla started to hesitate, but Winfred cut her off. "Oh, do not be shy, please take it. By the way, what is your name?" "I am Winfred Bells." Ayla finally sighed. "I will accept it then." But as she spoke, she froze. The Bells family? He nodded like he knew exactly what she was thinking. "Winfred Julius Bells, Crown Prince of the Pels Empire. It is a pleasure to meet you." Ayla stood stunned, thinking of a lion. Meanwhile, in the alleys, Cloud wondered where he went. There was no sign of teleportation magic anywhere. Just then, two knights walked past, whispering urgently to one another about the situation. Nothing on the 3rd Street either. Where did the Crown Prince go? Is there anywhere we have not checked yet? Not sure. Maybe we should head back to the temple for now. Once they passed, Cloud slipped away quickly. Cloud narrowed his eyes. More soldiers were appearing. He had to find the prince and finish the job as soon as possible. Suddenly, Alexia appeared and pressed a sword to his throat. "Stop. This area is under the strict control of the Royal Guard. Who are you? State your identity and your purpose right now." She fell silent, staring at Cloud while she waited for an answer. The edge of her sword stayed fixed against his skin, not moving. After a tense silence, Cloud suddenly parried Alexia's blade and leapt backward with the speed of a lightning bolt. In the blink of an eye, he opened up the distance and drew his sword. Alexia shifted her grip, blocking the blow instantly. Their blades collided with a deafening boom. From afar, their magical auras looked like two spheres of light crashing into each other. Alexia gritted her teeth, using all her strength to shove his blade into the air. A wave of energy tore through the air, leaving cracks in the space. Under the bright moon, they both backed away to reset. Alexia smirked. "Your swordsmanship has gotten quite sloppy lately, has it not? What brings you all the way here? Be quiet. A mere shadow of a traitor should not act so bold." Unlike the tension there, Ayla's side was remarkably peaceful. After a long silence, Winfred spoke up. "Hey, sorry about that. Did I startle you? Do not worry about the royal title. Before I am a prince, I am just Winfred. Please, do not be so formal. I do not want any distance between us." Ayla remained silent. That was not the problem. The symbol of the royal family was a lion. The emperor was her father's best friend. The little lion was the current ruler. Did Byron actually lead a rebellion? Why would he go that far? She paused, remembering Byron's chilling words once his revenge was finally complete. "Ophelia, you took my position and my right hand. Everything." Snapping back to reality, Ayla called out, "Wait, Winfred." He smiled. "Or you can just call me Win." She looked at him seriously. "Since we are talking, can I ask you something? Did something happen to the Golden Throne?" Winfred looked surprised. "Huh? Why would you ask about that so suddenly?" Ayla explained she was not well educated and only heard rumors of royal unrest, so she was worried about saying something wrong. "I am afraid if we get too close, I might misspeak." Winfred's eyes lit up. "You are so kind." Ayla blushed, feeling a bit guilty. At least half of that was a total lie. Winfred said the past did not bother him, but warned her the trouble was not over. He then began explaining the first prince's rebellion. "When my grandfather, the previous emperor, chose his successor, he named my father the second prince as the crown prince. I am not sure why, but usually, The throne is passed down to the eldest son of the family. Grandfather broke that tradition, and my uncle was furious. His name was Byron Lionel Vito Spells. He was very talented. With just a few words, he could sway nobles and gain influence. He led them in a revolt. Back then, my father was traveling to Primus, just like me. Only my grandfather and the guards were at the palace. In that desperate moment, Duke Roderic Wen rushed in with his knights to save the day and protect the crown. Once the Empire's strongest swordsman stepped in, the rebellion was crushed. The traitors were stripped of their titles and executed. The ones who escaped are still wanted. You should check the bounty lists. Ayla realized his eyes looked exactly like Byron's. She asked hesitantly, "Were you close with your uncle?" Winfred let out a loud, genuine laugh at the question. "Of course not. I was only 4 years old back then." Ayla thought to herself. 10 years ago. Not that long. After he finished laughing, Winfred looked down. "Actually, I never met him. I am only telling you what I heard from others." He smiled and looked up. 3 years ago, before grandfather passed, the former emperor revealed the truth. He wanted me to be prince, even though my father kept it hidden. My father, Hiram, protested, saying I was too young. But grandfather insisted that wisdom would come naturally with the position. Besides, your uncle is still alive and hiding somewhere in this very country. We have no idea when he might return to strike again. You must learn everything, stay close to your father, and protect him with your life. Those were my grandfather's final words. Then, the former emperor closed his eyes and drifted away for the last time. Seeing him pass, Winfred burst into tears. He whispered a promise. "Yes, grandfather, I will become a crown prince this empire can be proud of. I will protect my father." He spoke with a child's voice but a man's resolve, wanting to catch his uncle and bring peace. "That is my dream." "Oh, sorry. I am rambling. I guess I just haven't had anyone to talk to about these things in a long time." Winfred stopped, looking at Alla with confusion. "Why are you staring at me like that? Is there something on my face?" She said it was nothing, but guilt gnawed at her soul. Her past mistakes helped destroy the empire. She realized her thirst for revenge had blinded her to her true purpose. But for the first time in my life, I actually feel grateful for this twisted fate. At dawn, Alla told Winfred they had to leave. He was shocked, thinking she hated crowds. She simply replied, "I can handle it." She knew Byron was the traitor now. She had to dig deeper. There was no more time left to sit around and wait. Before leaving, she held out the royal crest pin. "I am returning this. A person like me does not deserve to keep it." Winfred stood up, clearly frustrated. "I told you to stop saying that. You saved my life. You deserve more than just a thank you." Alla's face flushed a deep red as she looked away. She whispered, "It is just a bit inconvenient to carry around. That is all." Winfred countered immediately, "Then I will make it convenient. Just leave that part to me." With that, he let out a sharp whistle. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light materialized right in front of them. Alla gasped. "What is this?" Winfred caught the light in his hand, smiling. "It is a magical storage box. It only appears when I use the whistle. Here, take this and keep it safe inside." Alla was stunned. "Wait, stop. This is way too much for me to accept." Winfred just grinned at her. "If you didn't want this, you should have taken the pin earlier." He threatened her playfully. "If you keep saying no, I will give you something even bigger. I have a whole collection of magic items." Alla quickly took it to shut him up. He explained that the pin is a magical tool that changes color over time. It is perfect for when you don't have a watch. Alla nodded, feeling a bit jealous of how useful it was, but she finally accepted. Winfred promised the items left no magical trace at all. Alla was shocked. Most royal magic items are easily detected after use. How could these leave no trace behind? Winfred confirmed they were made by the world's most powerful mage. Alla was stunned by the prince's high-level connections. After a moment, Winfred looked up. "Now, tell me your real name. I asked before, but you keep dodging the question. To transfer ownership of these magical items, I need your name." Alla hesitated. "Does it have to be my full name?" He shook his head. "No, As long as it is not a nickname. She hesitated for a moment. Fine. It is Allah Helen. Winfred repeated the name silently. Helen. I feel like I have heard that name somewhere before. He began chanting. I, Winfred Julius, hereby transfer the ownership of these magical artifacts to Helen. It is done. They are yours now. Go ahead. Try to whistle. Allah stood there, frozen. She stayed silent until Winfred turned to look at her, confused. Finally, she admitted bashfully, I don't know how to whistle. Winfred burst out laughing while Allah turned away, blushing hard. Meanwhile, the brutal battle between Alexia and Clow raged on. In the heat of the fight, Alexia found an opening and swung her blade. Clow barely jumped back. She glared at him, her aura exploding as she shouted, Don't be stupid, Clow. I won't deny you are a great knight. You might even be better than your brother, but this is the end for you. Do you honestly think you can take down this many people alone? Just surrender. Let the law judge your crimes. Clow wiped the blood from his lip and slowly stood up. Alexia tightened her grip, ready to finish this. But Clow wasn't looking for a fight anymore. He was looking for an exit. He swung his sword in a desperate surprise attack. Alexia gritted her teeth and slashed back with pure rage. A fresh cut opened on Claw's face, but a twisted smile crossed his lips. At the same time, a glowing magic circle erupted right beneath his feet. Claw's body turned into a pillar of light and shot straight up into the sky. The knights shielded their blinded eyes and cried out in pain. Alexia realized he had hidden a scroll in his boot. She growled, calling him a total coward. From a nearby rooftop, Allah and Winfred watched the light pierce the clouds. Winfred asked what was going on. Was that light from a magic scroll? Did something happen? Allah frowned, knowing Clow was finally being hunted down. She spoke quickly. Everyone is distracted by him. This is the opening we need. Let's move. Winfred stood up to leave, but Allah blocked him with her arm. She warned him that assassins were still watching. He looked at her with suspicion. You know who they are? He jumped down, and she caught him. How I know is a secret. But I am certain they were sent by your uncle, Byron. Winfred gasped in shock. What? He chased after me, his curiosity piquing. How do you know that? Who are you? Really? Allah shook her head. That is a secret too, she replied. Suddenly, the shouting of knights echoed nearby. Your Highness, Allah said, pinning Winfred against the wall. If you ever learn my identity, please give my parents a message. I cannot see them right now, but please tell them to wait just a little longer. I promise I will return to them. They finally arrived where Winfred belonged. He could not help but ask, Allah, who are you exactly? She smiled, turning to leave. I am counting on you, Your Highness. With that, she vaulted onto the rooftop and vanished into the night. She left Winfred standing there, completely stunned. It took a moment for him to react. Allah, wait. We will meet again, right? Back at the inn, Caphelia's sharp voice rang out. Laura, get down here now. Laura was lying still on the floor, but the shout made her bolt upright in a panic. Wiping drool from her mouth, Laura wondered, wait, did I pass out? She was tired after dinner, but not enough to just collapse like that. She pictured Caphelia holding a whip and turned pale. She told herself her mother could never find out about this. Her mother's voice boomed again. Laura quickly shouted back, I am coming. Just give me a second. On the bed, Ayla stared at the door. She felt relieved that naive Laura did not realize she had been drugged. Things were getting loud downstairs. She will probably forget the whole thing. It will be a while before she comes to wake me, so I should rest. Thinking that, she snapped her fingers. The magic box Winfred gave her appeared instantly. She whispered, All right, let's get started. The pin appeared right after. Hours ago, Winfred had asked if she could snap her fingers and decided to change the summoning method. It should have been changed before the ownership transfer. Let me hold your hand. I need your mana to cast this spell. Ayla asked shyly, You know how to use magic like that? Winfred replied quickly, I learned from the greatest mage in the world. Allah heard this and thought to herself, Wow, I wonder who that incredible mage actually is. Meanwhile, Winfred was ready. He began the incantation. Let's begin. A beam of light suddenly shone onto Allah's face. A few seconds later, a small smile crossed her face. Strange, just thinking about it makes me feel like that light is still right beside me. Suddenly, Laura let out a sharp scream. Uncle Cloud. Allah's eyes snapped open instantly. Ophelia reported tighter security after the clash with the royal guards, but with no news, Laura feared her uncle was gravely injured. She tried to calm her down. Don't panic, Laura. Now is not the time to lose it. We have to find him fast. Send a letter to the temple and cancel the visit. Laura cried out in panic. Ophelia stepped out. I need to fix the travel budget. I will sell some jewelry. Do not do anything stupid and watch Allah. Allah overheard from the stairs, realizing they planned to take her to the temple for Byron's scheme. If the attempt on Winfred's life had actually succeeded, would he have performed the coronation ceremony right then? If so, my presence here makes perfect sense. Byron is clearly playing a dangerous game. Thinking about it made a wave of pure disgust wash over Ayla. As she walked back to her room, she thought about how she never visited that temple in her past life. The assassination failed, and her being here was likely why Cloud went missing. Honestly, this whole situation is a massive mess. What if he never comes back? The entire future will shift, and my own actions will be severely limited from now on. Remembering how Winfred called out to her, her gaze softened. She did not regret a thing. Meeting him had allowed her to discover something more precious than anything else. No matter what the future holds, I will have the courage to face it head-on. The next morning, Alexia knelt before Winfred. I will accept any punishment, she said. Winfred exhaled, looking awkward. Lord Nexon, this whole incident was just a terrible mistake. Alexia bowed her head quickly. The Crown Prince's guards were negligent in their duties. Letting the assassin escape is an unforgivable failure that must be dealt with. Winfred believed his father would not blame her. He could imagine Hiram making a huge scene. I cannot live like this, letting the boy go out alone without knowing a thing. Winfred then said, I have informed the king. We must focus on finding that assassin. Are you saying nobody in Primus saw him? Alexia nodded respectfully. Yes, he was definitely struck in the eye while fleeing, but no doctor in town has reported treating such a patient. The gatekeepers also claimed no one left the city. Winfred worried that the enemy was powerful enough to vanish without leaving any traces behind. Alexia replied, regardless, we absolutely cannot afford to underestimate a man like that. The failure happened because of a magic scroll. Nobody expected a fugitive to use such an expensive item. Winfred noted that illegal scrolls cost even more than legal ones. He wondered to himself where his uncle had managed to get the money for such things. Then he added, what do you think about expanding the search area? Find him for me at any cost. Alexia bowed. Forgive me, Your Highness. Primus sits on the western border with far too many escape routes and very thin security. Considering the situation, Winfred felt quite discouraged. Even with urgent orders, catching them now won't be easy at all. For now, returning to the capital is best. We must wait for my uncle to make a move. Alexia stood up to prepare the royal escort. She quietly admired his composure. Despite the assassination threats, he remained calm at his age. Honestly, most of this mess was her own fault. Then Winfred spoke. Tell them to pack light. We leave now. A simple meal will suffice. He suddenly paused, caught by a sudden thought. Excuse me, sir, could you grab a few more books for me? Alexia looked serious as she asked, what kind of books do you need, my lord? Winfred replied, please check the registry of the nobility for me. After a moment, he walked toward the carriage, deep in thought. Who bears that name? I have definitely heard it before. It must belong to a noble family. I will start by searching the local families. If they were high nobility, I would have remembered. I need to uncover the truth behind that name. That look in her eyes during her final request. She seemed so truly desperate and lost. Winfred whispered to himself, just trust me. When we meet again, I will make you proud. At the city gates, a brown-haired knight stepped out to block the convoy. The knight demanded to search everything. The merchant protested with visible frustration. What kind of city forces inspections just to leave? The brown-haired knight replied calmly, Just cooperate and this will all go much faster. The merchant snapped, "Who pays if my goods are damaged?" Nearby, a black-haired knight sighed. To these innocent people, this must feel like a sudden disaster. But there was no choice. These were direct orders from the royal guard. Alexia issued the command herself. The crown prince departs today, and this information must not be leaked to anyone under any circumstances. Your duty is to capture any remaining rebels. New wanted posters are being distributed now. Search every corner and do not let your guard down for a second. That was when the two of them saw Cloud's face on the wanted poster. Wait, is this him? Alexia glanced over. Then, the two were forced into headstands as punishment. She told them sternly their failures would be handled later. Both replied in unison, "Yes, sir." Alexia continued, "Let me be clear. Do not perform these inspections carelessly. Even though you are stationed at the border, you still carry the Empire's sword." Fired up by her words, the brown-haired knight shouted his orders. "Open the carriage and unload everything." The driver stammered, "Excuse me, but our young lady is inside." The knight frowned and barked out, "No exceptions, even for the nobility." Inside the carriage, Laura and Cophelia had taken their disguises. She lay there relaxed while the older woman complained about the rudeness. The knight hesitated, lowering his voice. "Please, you must cooperate with us on this matter." Cophelia continued her scolding. "How insolent! How dare you treat a carriage full of women this way? What is your name? I will file a formal complaint." The knight tried to soothe her, saying, "Please, madam, just try to stay calm." Cramped in a tight space, Byron gritted his teeth and hissed, "What a nuisance." Ayla was forced to sit on his lap. She felt sick but knew she had to endure. Once today passed, everything would finally return to normal. Cloud had sent her a secret letter. He had successfully escaped the city and was being treated by a doctor in the countryside. He woke up after 3 days in a coma. Instead of coming back, he chose to return to his hideout. Strangely, after Byron read the letter, he only ordered us to leave. Ayla kept thinking that she really expected him to be absolutely furious. But why wasn't he? Does he even care about Cloud, or is he just a useful asset? If so, I might be able to win Cloud over. While Ayla was lost in thought, Byron suddenly patted her head. Outside, the night cleared them, and the driver urged the horses forward to depart. Ayla didn't notice, still deep in thought. Cloud seemed to have some feelings for me. I am certain I can use that to my advantage. It is all so complicated. As I closed my eyes, Winfred's face suddenly filled my mind. "We will see each other again, won't we?" Recalling his question, Ayla slowly opened her eyes once more. "He won't be leaving that hideout for several years." I didn't understand the reason before, but now, it all makes perfect sense. That last trip was a massive shock for Byron. To avoid the manhunt, he has to hide. Ayla lowered her head. "I just have to keep acting. Winfred, it might be a long time before we meet again." Her eyes turned melancholy. "I wonder, will you even remember me?" Somewhere else, under a different sky, Winfred felt a strange and sudden chill in the air. He looked out the window at the starry sky, a question weighing on his heart. "Will you still smile at me like you used to?" Days later, at the palace, the guards announced the crown prince had returned. Hiram rushed out. "My son, I was so worried when I received your letter. Are you hurt anywhere?" Winfred broke into a nervous sweat. "Father, please, I am perfectly fine. I swear." But he remained worried. "How is that possible? You were out there all alone with just a few scrolls and no escort." Winfred finally admitted, "Someone helped me along the way." Hiram was startled. There was no mention of that in the letter. Alexia stood there frozen in place while Winfred calmly explained, "The savior wants to remain anonymous." No name was recorded. Hiram then asked if he knew them. Alexia was paralyzed with terror, her heart nearly stopping. "Crown Prince, you explicitly told me you would make it back to safety on your own." Winfred claimed he was still searching, so Hiram eventually let it slide. "Of course, I already know how warm my son's heart truly is." He said the words out loud, but deep down, he found the whole situation incredibly suspicious. Hiram believed that saving the prince then vanishing was a major red flag. It is exactly what a criminal would do. Even Ayla could not deny that. Hiram continued his questioning. So, your carriage is packed with nothing but documents. Do you want your father to help you with that? Winfred stood his ground. No, if you know about it, it will not be a secret anymore. He laughed. True. I suppose you have a point. He immediately ordered Alexia to gather the team and return to Primus for a full report on that night. Winfred asked curiously, "What are you two discussing?" Hiram gave a warm smile, just giving her some instructions. Winfred felt he should show gratitude, but the situation was becoming far too complicated. Then Hiram shifted the topic. You must be exhausted by now. Go get cleaned up and get some rest. Winfred nodded. Okay. Any news from the mansion master, father? Hiram's gaze darkened slightly as he turned away. You should go visit them soon. Inside the Duke Wen family estate, a voice echoed through one of the quiet rooms. Forgive us, but with our current knowledge, we cannot determine the cause. Roderic cut the doctor off right in the middle of his sentence. I am going to see my wife. You all go rest. You did your best. I do not blame any of you, so please, do not worry. After speaking, he left the room and headed elsewhere. Moments later, Roderic reached another room and stepped inside. He called out softly, My love. The woman with the silver hair was Ophelia Wen. She asked anxiously, What did the doctors have to say? Seeing the look on Roderic's face, Ophelia forced a small smile. She tilted her head to the side. It is okay. I expected this. We cannot change the past. Roderic whispered her name softly. She insisted that instead of grieving for their daughter, they must focus on what they could still do. He nodded. You are right about that. He frowned, his expression turning grave. Ophelia turned to him, curious about the situation. Roderic finally gave her an answer. Your Majesty, Byron has made his move. Those words stunned her. Years ago, the palace was covered in the deep red light of a sunset. Roderic walked through the doors, his face splattered with blood, showing the marks of a brutal and fierce battle. As soon as Roderic entered the great hall, a mocking voice rang out. Well, look who decided to show up. My dear old friend. Did you sense the danger surrounding the royal family? It is good to see you, Roderic. Thanks for coming all this way. Facing Byron, Roderic said coldly, Cut the small talk. You are a traitor. Your title of prince has been stripped. You no longer have any right to even address me. The air in the great hall suddenly grew heavy. Byron lowered his head to hide his eyes. Oh, were you all whispering about me out there, secretly deciding my fate behind my back? The first prince is useless, so throw him away. It is always the same old story. After a long, chilling silence followed his laughter, Byron said coldly, It still makes me feel sick. He roared, unable to accept it. I am the firstborn of the royal family. I was destined to stand at the peak of this kingdom. Yet every one of you looks down on me. Roderic remained indifferent. That is because you simply lack the ability. Hearing that, Byron completely lost his cool. Shut up. You think I do not know what happened? You were the one who advised the king to make Hiram the crown prince, right? Roderic shook his head. I never said that to him. He swung his sword at him. Stop acting innocent with that annoying face. Roderic easily blocked the strike with his armored gauntlet. Roderic warned him calmly, This is your last chance to keep some dignity. If you continue to resist, you will be executed. Byron hissed, You are the source of all my misery. Looking back, it was all so strange. Why was my exile set in Wen territory? Why did Ophelia choose you over me? Why did my own father abandon me? While he ranted, the former emperor called out, Duke, if you are doing this for me, please stop. I begged you to guide my son, but I understand now. He is a lost cause. Please, even if you have to kill my son, you must put an end to this. Just as Byron was about to charge at him, the wall suddenly collapsed. A figure rushed in from outside and shouted, Prince Byron. Roderic frowned and gripped his sword. He wondered, reinforcements. Who would show up at a time like this? As he thought, he slashed Byron across the right arm. He did not flinch. He just smirked and said, Roderic, I am going to wipe that smug look off your face and tear you to pieces. Just wait and see. Soon after that, my daughter went missing. Byron clearly kidnapped her, but she vanished without a trace. Not a single clue left behind, Roderic whispered. And now he has appeared again to assassinate the crown prince. Ophelia gasped, covering her mouth. Oh goodness, Winfred. Seeing her worry, Roderic spoke up. Thankfully, the crown prince is completely unharmed. That means, Ophelia added, we have a chance here that we might never see again in our entire lives. He spoke seriously. I will plan the search as soon as you recover. Ophelia shook her head. No, we have to go now. My injuries are minor. I am totally fine. We cannot waste another second while we still have a lead on our daughter. Roderic bowed his head, eyes shut tight. After a long internal struggle, he sighed, you are right. This time, we are bringing her home. 3 years later, in a vast snowy mountain range, Klaus spoke up during Allah's daily training session. That is enough. You grew up so fast I almost did not recognize you. Young lady, he said. Oh, it is only because you taught me so well, Klaus. He thought her progress in strength, swordsmanship, and poison resistance was extraordinary. Was it just genius blood? Allah felt uneasy at his strange expression. She was not used to this yet. Klaus, his scarred face remained lost in thought. It seemed like her personality was changing too. Or maybe that is just how a child grows up. Klaus prepared to announce the next training drill. Then he suddenly looked up. Allah followed his gaze, shocked to see a magical messenger bird. Why arrive now? Is the future shifting once again? Klaus reached out for the bird to land and said, just consider this your free time. Allah asked in surprise, free time? He nodded. Yes, I have nothing left to teach you right now. Allah stood there dazed, confusion written all over her face. Seeing this, Klaus stopped in his tracks. Ah, he said, gently patting her head. It means you can do whatever you want now. You could take a nap or go for a walk. As soon as he finished, Allah spun around and bolted. Klaus stood frozen, watching her leave in total confusion as she raced through the snow. Allah thought frantically. She had tried to get close to Klaus, even acting friendly, but now he was getting way too close. Everything has changed, and the future is following suit. What if this leads to a series of events I cannot control? I used to want this, but my heart is racing with fear. Please help me. Give me courage. She screamed at the top of her lungs. Meanwhile, in the palace, Prince Winfred felt a sudden itch in his ear. Huh, is someone calling my name? Shortly after, a knock sounded at the door. As Winfred looked up, he heard Hiram's voice. Winfred, I am finally free. Come have tea with your father. He smiled and said, oh, it is you, father. Hiram acted hurt, saying, that is a bit of a cold reaction, son. He stood behind the prince, complaining, you have barely spent any time with me lately. Is it because of those magic scrolls addressed to someone I do not know? Who are you sending them to? Winfred thought silently. If he told his father they were for his savior, Hiram would surely try to help. Better to stay quiet. So he replied, no, it is not really because of that. You are busy, father. I do not want to bother you without a good reason. Hiram frowned in annoyance. He stepped forward and grabbed Winfred in a hug. You little rascal. If my son wants me, I will come running. Do not force yourself to keep your distance. Blushing, he replied, it is not like that. It is just that I am grown up now. Hiram chuckled. You are too young to say things like that. Besides, you never told me about your first love. Winfred asked, stunned. First love? Seeing his innocent reaction, Hiram went blank. Winfred grew even more confused by his father's expression. Why was he reacting like that? After a few seconds, Hiram changed the subject. Wait, Winfred. Did you not say that your heart starts racing every time you enter the palace lately? He nodded. That is true. Hiram continued. You cannot even focus on work, and you have lost your appetite too. He nodded again. Yes. Hiram added with a grin, yet the doctor says your health is perfectly fine. Hearing this, Winfred still did not understand what was happening and asked innocently. He sighed and explained plainly, in that case, there is only one possibility left: you are lovesick. Winfred quickly denied it. No, I do not think I am in love with anyone. Hiram would not let it go. He teased him. So, which young lady has turned you into such a mess? Come on, tell your father your little secret. Winfred avoided his gaze. I told you, it is not love. Hiram suddenly covered his mouth. Do not tell me it is not a young lady, but a young man instead. Winfred's face darkened as he corrected him. Not at all. It is nothing like that. Before he could finish, Hiram added, whoever you love, I will always support you completely. At this point, Winfred could not help but ask, are you even listening to me? Hiram breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Finally, the boy called him father again. After composing himself, Winfred continued, I mean, love does not always have to be so intense and heart-pounding, does it? Hiram nodded. There are many types of affection. I know that well enough. He looked up, a hint of sadness in his eyes. I just cannot forget her. I keep thinking about her constantly. Her image is always stuck in my mind. Just then, a memory flickered in Winfred's mind. After pausing for a moment, he continued by asking how she might be living now. That was all. Then his mind drifted back to the memory of her calling for Winfred. I can't stop thinking about her, Winfred thought gloomily. 3 years, and I don't even know her name. That promise remains unfulfilled. Time passed quietly until Winfred suddenly stood up and pushed Hiram toward the exit. Just go, Dad. Go handle the state affairs. Wait. Why? Hiram replied. Keep kicking me out and I will get mad. Winfred blushed and shouted, then I'll tell Mom everything. Hiram sighed. Tell Mom? That's low. Fine, but take this first. He accepted the scroll and asked what it was. Hiram explained the W. Fan family had returned and needed him to deliver the gifts on this list. Winfred shouted in excitement, Master is back? But who are these gifts for? Hiram smiled brightly. Listen closely. They have finally chosen a new successor. Alice stopped before a mansion at the snowy mountain where Byron was hiding. I just settled my mind and came back, only to hear this news? What did Cloud say to ruin this? She studied the shattered window glass. I have to sneak in tonight. For 3 years, I have been slipping into Byron's room. Even in hiding, he still sends secret letters. While monitoring the situation, she discovered Byron's accomplice was Count Zenos of Inenkov, a foreign noble from a country located on the southwest border of the empire. He is the main financier, likely trading very serious national secrets. I couldn't lose this info, so I copied as much as possible. Without Winfred's gift, I wouldn't have known how to hide these papers. Collecting info isn't the main problem for me anymore. I must watch for future shifts. This was no longer just a butterfly effect from saving Winfred. The timing was so off that she suspected someone else had also regressed. I don't even know why I was sent back, so it is possible others returned too. Ala wondered how she could possibly find the truth. Laura's voice startled her. Miss, what are you doing out here? Lord Cloud says you must return to your room immediately. My room? She said the master was in a terrible mood, so I should be careful. Why go through the trouble of sending someone to call me? Ala bowed, thinking, wait, Byron was happy recently. If Cloud is sending warnings, the situation has turned dangerous again. Inside the office, Byron hurled an object out the window and screamed for Ophelia. In the corner, Cloud stood guard as he always did. Byron screamed out once more. How could she? How could she possibly dare to carry the child of another man? Why? When I am right here. He collapsed against the desk, his body shaking as he gasped for air without stopping for a moment. The room was a complete disaster. The snow outside stopped. Byron slowly hid his madness behind a mask of calm. He glanced out the window and whispered about destroying them. There truly is no other choice left. I love Ophelia, so I am the one who must clean up this absolute disaster. That brat was born for this job. Byron touched his forehead. Once she enters the mansion, she will kill the newborn first. When he loses a second child to his own flesh and blood, his expression will certainly be something worth seeing. I can hardly wait for it. Cloud clenched his hands to suppress his emotions. Soon after, the entire mansion was filled with the sounds of Byron's insane laughter. That night, under the moonlight shining into the office, Alla carefully opened the window. Good, she thought. The break-in was a success. She looked around, thinking that even though she was used to this, it felt too easy. Byron was getting sloppy and not even cleaning his messes. From Byron's perspective, he probably doesn't fear a cursed daughter like me anymore. And honestly, that is the most annoying part of all this. Searching the mess, Allah found an unburned letter. Why leave this out? Allah picked it up, curious. The next day at the training grounds, Cloud said that practice was over and she could spend the rest of her time resting. He noticed she was still dazed and asked if she felt unwell or if he had simply startled her by mistake. Allah turned quickly and claimed she was fine and just wanted to take a walk. She ran off immediately, silently cursing herself for running away once again. This will surely make Cloud suspicious, but her mind was spinning too fast to care about the consequences at all. I do not know what the right thing to do is. I just heard that my mother is having another baby. She stopped in the empty woods, trying to comfort herself. It made sense they had basically forgotten I even existed. They were always so happy together, so it is actually strange they waited this long for a second child. So, knowing their current daughter is just a fake actually brings me a bit of peace. But why is everything changing now? Weren't they waiting for me? Is it possible there was never a place for me in this massive WAP fan mansion after all? If that child is born a perfect, noble little thing so different from me, will they just forget I ever existed? Thinking of that dark future, Ayla stood there dazed before suddenly blurting out a desperate no. She sobbed, saying, "No, I don't want to be forgotten. Just a little longer. Please wait for me a little longer. I know I have no right to be this selfish, especially since I have not even asked for forgiveness yet." Right then, a sudden rustling sound came from the nearby bushes. Ayla stared blankly as a small rabbit slowly emerged from the thick brush. It called back toward the bushes, and another rabbit hopped out, followed by two tiny babies. The entire family huddled together in one spot. Watching them, Ayla stood there thinking to herself, a whole rabbit family. The four rabbits suddenly turned and hopped away into the distance. Ayla cried out for them to wait, and just like that, she chased the family while it was still light out. By the time the rain started falling, the sky had turned dark. Right now, at the Wen estate, Ophelia sat staring out the window during the heavy downpour. Suddenly, Roderic opened the door and stepped into the room. "Ophelia, what is on your mind?" She turned around and replied, "Roderic, it is nothing. I am just thinking about our daughter, like I always do. I am still filled with regret. Losing her that day was entirely my fault. I should never have placed so much trust in that nanny. I keep trying to make amends by remembering her every single day. I did not even dare to dream of being pregnant again. The guilt just made it feel impossible. At least, that is what I used to think. Is this whole situation not a miracle? I always miss the child we lost, but I cannot let my guilt reject a new life. Ayla, my daughter, it is so cold today. Where are you in this freezing weather? Please, find it in your heart to forgive me. I will raise this new baby with all the love I have. I hope that one day, this child will be the warm embrace waiting for your return." Ophelia whispered, "Please do not ever think that we have forgotten you. We still love you. I still wonder if things would be different if we had not left you all alone that day. Maybe then we could have shared this joy together." She closed her eyes as a single tear fell. If only I could turn back time on that snowy mountain. Ayla panicked, thinking, "Oh no." She rushed back as fast as she could, blaming herself the entire way. She realized how foolish she was to chase those rabbits and get lost in the woods. I only wanted to help that little family. The faces of Roderic and Ophelia suddenly flashed through her mind. Ayla bit her lip, wiped her tears, and ran as if trying to escape that happy image forever. Before long, she had cleared the forest. It is unclear how much time passed, but suddenly, Ayla was being thrown out of the house. The man responsible was none other than Byron. He stepped forward with a face full of rage and a voice so cold it was bone-chilling. "My daughter, you are home very late. You must have had so much fun out there." Ayla scrambled to sit up. "I am so sorry. It was my fault." Byron let out a cold sneer. "Oh, really? My dear daughter, are you truly sorry to your father?" Ayla told herself not to show any emotion. Byron only wanted to see her kneel and beg. He did not actually suspect anything was wrong. She suppressed her feelings and stayed respectful, pleading for mercy just this once. Looking at her face, Byron was suddenly hit by old memories from long ago. He remembered Ophelia's words, "I decide where I stay, and my husband has absolutely no reason to beg for any forgiveness from your highness." He coldly ordered her not to enter the house tonight, but Klaus stepped forward to try and stop him. Before he could finish, Byron cut him off, shouting not to let her in. He coldly said, if she enjoyed being outside, she can keep repenting out there. Klaus tried to reason with him again, saying, "Master, please." But Byron screamed, "Do you really dare to disobey my direct orders? Snap out of it." Then the door slammed shut. Ayla was left alone in the snow as the rain continued to pour down. She clenched her fists, telling herself to stay calm. She realized that even if she was not late, Byron would have found another excuse to punish her. "It is fine. I can handle this pain. It is nothing." Inside the mansion, Klaus kept pleading, saying it was far too cold outside. "Sir, leaving a young girl outside like this is..." Byron coldly cut him off. "That is exactly why I put her there. Now, prepare to leave." Klaus was absolutely stunned. Byron revealed that Wopfan had already discovered the village behind the forest. He thought they would focus on the west this time, but they did not. "I never expected he would follow the trail for 3 whole years. It is a truly sick and twisted obsession." Byron ordered a retreat. He told them to tie Ayla up and throw her into the carriage storage room. He said that, despite her looks, she still carries that man's blood and he cannot stand the sight of her. Hearing this, Klaus was completely stunned. Klaus thought to himself, it was all just for revenge. He was always impulsive. But isn't this going too far? Why does my brother follow a man like this? Klaus stopped in his tracks, clenching his fists. No, wait. Why am I even thinking about these things right now? Right then, Laura stepped forward hesitantly. "Master, uncle, something is wrong." The young lady just collapsed. Byron glanced out the window, then turned back with an order. "Take good care of her. I am not ready to end her yet." The two of them froze for a moment before Cloud and Laura hurried out. Meanwhile, Byron remained behind, looking totally indifferent as the heavy rain hammered against the windows outside. He glanced at the unconscious figure lying in the yard, whispering to himself, "Beautiful weather today, is it not?" In a hazy dream, Ayla heard a voice calling her name. "Ayla, wake up, sweetheart. Mommy is right here." She thought to herself, in total shock. Is that my mother's voice? Is this a dream? Why is it so clear? It feels so warm and painless. My head is spinning, and I just cannot think anymore. That gentle voice kept speaking to me. "It is all right now. You can rest. Ayla, please, just trust your mother. Do you remember my promise? I told your father everything about you. We never once forgot you, and I will do whatever it takes so that the world remembers you too. Never forget that your father and I are always with you, and there is someone else who cares for you deeply." Suddenly, Ayla snapped her eyes open, her face burning with a high fever. In the silence of the night, she saw Cloud quietly keeping watch right beside her bed. She called out softly, her voice sounding raspy. "Cloud?" He replied in a gentle tone. "My lady, you are finally awake." "Still hazy?" Ayla whispered. "Cloud, what is it?" Her voice was shaking. "Why did you lie to me? Have you been deceiving me this entire time?" The air in the room suddenly grew heavy, sinking into a thick silence. Outside, a sudden crack of thunder tore through the dark night. Cloud snapped out of it, his hands tightly gripping the edge of the blanket. He muttered under his breath, sounding dazed. "It cannot be. You know everything now?" She had been sick for days, stuffed into a carriage with no idea where she was going, only waking up for brief moments. Then one day, the carriage finally came to a halt. While the servants were busy unloading everything, Ayla was woken up by the noise. She wondered if Cloud was really the one who was taking her away. She saw him peek his head inside, and she could not help but feel suspicious. Why did he look like that? Memories of that night suddenly came flooding back. Ayla froze for a moment, a wave of anxiety rising in her chest. Could it be that while I was unconscious, I actually— Right then, Cloud suddenly called out, "Milady, do you still remember your own name?" Isla was stunned for a long time as worry grew in Cloud's eyes. Just then, Laura's voice called out from nearby, "Uncle, what are you doing in there? I have a mountain of luggage to watch over. Do you really care about that brat that much?" Cloud stammered out a soft yes. Before he could even finish, Laura cut him off. "Uncle, you have been acting so strange lately. Do you realize that? I have not told the master yet, but things are getting worse every day. How did it even come to this?" Cloud looked at Ayla quietly, avoiding her eyes as he spoke. "I am just afraid she won't survive the trip. She is the master's most important tool." Hearing those words, Ayla felt a chill in her heart. How could someone who talks like that actually care about my well-being? No way. I almost fell for it. It turns out it was all just a dream. Meanwhile, Cloud was panicking. What if Ayla actually knows everything? What should I do now? Standing in front of him, Laura asked gloomily, "Where are we even going?" Cloud shook his head. "Not sure, but likely east." She gasped in surprise. "What?" Cloud continued, "Because we are being chased so hard, the plan might have to change halfway through." Laura stammered, "How much longer do we have to live like fugitives on the run? What am I supposed to do?" Cloud remained silent, his mind flashing back to Kephalia's words. "You understand the situation, right, Cloud? If you start catching feelings for that girl, just look at who is standing right beside you. Your own niece is right there." He shook his head. Shaking off the messy thoughts in his head, he said, "Do not worry. I will make sure you are as comfortable as possible for now." Laura continued to grumble under her breath. Why is this happening? Meanwhile, Winfred was already on his way to the Wen estate. He said happily, "Wow, the weather is fantastic today. I am glad we made it here safely, and even earlier than the scheduled time." At the mansion gates, the servants lined up in 2 rows and bowed. "Welcome, Crown Prince Winfred." He grinned and said it was great to visit his teacher earlier than planned. Alexia replied awkwardly that arriving exactly on time is usually better. Just then, Roderic walked out with Ophelia. Prince Winfred called out happily to his teacher and the Duchess. Ophelia gave a small smile. "Crown Prince Winfred, have you been doing well?" He rushed over like a child greeting his elders. "It has been such a long time. I was truly surprised you left for the West so late." Roderic laughed and said it was his fault for the sudden delay. Before he could finish, Winfred asked, "You missed me too, right?" Roderic nodded. "Of course, I was always wondering how you were doing. You have grown so much since the last time I saw you." Winfred asked in surprise, "Do I really look that big?" "Well, I'm almost an adult now. I am much taller, and my voice is deeper. But wait, let us talk about that later. First, you really have to accept this gift. These are gifts from His Majesty, new fabrics, healthy ingredients, and scented sachets to help you sleep." Ophelia cried out, "Prince, isn't this too much?" He smiled. "Not quite. I have a personal gift coming later, so do not get ahead of yourself just yet." Roderic frowned, muttering, "This overgifting habit of yours must be genetic." Ophelia just smiled and said, "That is so sweet." Winfred reached into his coat, his expression turning solemn as he spoke. "The piece I put the most heart into is this custom rattle. It is a one-of-a-kind gift I had to show off." While Roderic toyed with the rattle, Ophelia laughed. "You really have me laughing quite hard now. Please give my sincere thanks to His Majesty." Winfred bowed slightly. "Of course, I will deliver the message exactly." He felt relieved. She did not seem to be grieving at all. Before he left, Hiram told him, "I have a favor to ask. You might not remember since you were so young back then, but the Duke's family lost a young daughter many years ago. They have had more children since then, but they never found that girl. It is understandable if they seem depressed." Winfred nodded. "Yes," he replied. Hiram continued, "So, when you present the gifts, observe their reactions very closely. If sadness outweighs their joy, I hope you can offer them some comfort." Back in the present, Winfred thought, "I remember hearing this story. She seems to be doing much better than I expected." Ophelia suddenly spoke up. Shall we head inside now? Thank you for the gifts. But we cannot just stand here chatting all day, can we? Winfred snapped back to reality and replied. Oh, yes, I almost forgot, he said, while wondering what his next move should be. I originally planned to mention the magic box, since it was meant for the Duchess. I really should apologize for giving it away to someone else without asking her first. But is now the right time? What if it reminds her of her lost daughter and makes her even more miserable? Thinking back, Ayla is the same age as that missing girl. It is quite a coincidence. Once they were inside, Winfred told himself to stay calm. Allah really does resemble the Duchess, but I cannot jump to any conclusions just yet. If she just happens to look like her, it would be like rubbing salt into the noble couple's deepest wounds. Still, I cannot ignore it. How do I bring this up naturally? Seeing him hesitate, Roderic and Ophelia glanced at each other and asked, Are you all right? Your Highness? Winfred quickly replied, No, I am just happy to see you both again after all these years. He thought to himself, but ever since I noticed the resemblance, my eyes keep drifting toward the Duchess. I must control my emotions. Suddenly, Roderic stood up and said, Oh, I just received an urgent letter. You two stay here and chat while I handle this. I will write a reply and be right back. Ophelia answered, Yes, go ahead. Winfred thought to himself awkwardly. He is probably trying to give us some privacy. Oh no, here we go, Ophelia asked. So, Prince, is there something you want to tell me? Winfred stammered. Well, Duchess, I heard you used to live in Tamora. She nodded casually. I did, but why do you ask? He replied, I was just wondering if your silver hair is a common trait among the people of Tamora. I have never seen anyone in the capital with that hair color. I was just curious, though it is probably nothing important. As he spoke, Winfred thought to himself, maybe this is the best way to start? Ophelia was instantly intrigued. My hair is quite rare. I inherited it from my mother. I had no idea it was common in Tamora. But now it is a trait of the High family. Winfred froze. While he recalled the name Ahilling, Ophelia began to explain. It was a long time ago. My memory might be fuzzy, but that was my family name before I got married. The image of her in the present and past overlapped in Winfred's mind. He sat stunned, then suddenly stood up, making Ophelia ask in surprise, Your Highness, what is wrong? What happened? Winfred looked at her seriously. 3 years ago, I met a young girl with silver hair. Ophelia froze for a few seconds, then whispered, Silver hair is rare, but it is not entirely unheard of. The chances of her being related to this family are quite low. Winfred continued, That girl referred to herself as Hilling. Now, Ophelia could no longer stay calm. She asked in a daze, What did you say? Winfred explained that the girl had silver hair just like her and blue eyes just like my master. She even claimed to be at that point. He suddenly stopped because 2 streams of tears were now running down Ophelia's face. She whispered, Allah. Elsewhere, someone was writing a letter addressed to Ophelia. Sorry it took so long to reply. I was so busy arranging my schedule that I completely forgot. Since you were the one who invited me, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Anyway, I have finally arrived at the Empire's eastern port. We will see each other soon. Please do not bother with a grand welcome ceremony. Regarding your condition, I want to check it myself first. Honestly, this is hard to accept because I cannot even identify the symptoms. At the Empire's eastern port, sitting at a desk covered in books, a girl muttered as she wrote, I may not be the world's strongest mage, but oh my God, I am out of paper. This will have to do. She stood up and smiled. I will just send it like this. This woman is Candace Iosa, the Dean of Tamora Republic Academy. Clinging to a letter, she rushes outside as fast as possible. In her haste, Candace accidentally slams into someone, sending the stack of papers in her hands flying to the ground. She scrambles to grab them. Let me help, the man says. Are you from out of town? Candace spills the truth immediately. How did you know I was from Tamora? He laughs, saying she was muttering every word out loud while writing her letter. Miss, he warns, you should ditch some luggage before boarding. I am not joking, those mountain roads have become incredibly dangerous lately. Candace looks surprised. Dangerous? Why is that? The man explains that bandits have been swarming the mountain passes recently. They rob every traveler they see, showing absolutely no mercy to anyone. A carriage loaded with that much luggage is a prime target. You should take a private coach and pack light. Hearing this, she frowns. It was never like this before, was it? The man shakes his head. This is not your first time in the Empire, right? True, but things have gotten worse over the last 3 years. Criminals from the West keep flooding in. It is all so confusing. Candace sighs. After a moment, she pulls herself together. Thanks for the help. I must go now. The man simply nods in response. Of course. Safe travels. As she leaves the port, Candace whispers to herself that Ophelia needs to find her daughter, and fast. Right then, she passes a carriage. By some cruel twist of fate, that is the exact coach where A is being held. Candace has no idea. She is still walking away, wondering where on earth that poor girl could be. Allah sits huddled in the carriage, her body burning with fever while her mind drifts. The sky looks so beautiful today. Over with Winfred, Roderic listens to the story. He is stunned to learn that A had actually been living in Primus. Winfred says guiltily, I am sorry for not speaking up sooner, but at the time her situation was incredibly sensitive. I could not just reveal her to the world. Ophelia buries her face in Roderic's chest, sobbing. He shakes his head gently. You did the right thing. Winfred then mentions something important. A has a wish, Winfred says. Roderic asks curiously. He slowly answers, she wanted me to tell her parents to keep it a secret from everyone. She promised she would return one day. Even if you cannot see her right now, please wait just a little bit longer. Hearing this, Ophelia bursts into tears again. Tears stream down Roderic's face too, leaving the room filled only with the sound of their heavy sobbing. Watching the scene, Winfred thinks to himself, Allah, you really did not even need to ask for that. Your parents have always been waiting, and they will keep waiting. Just look at them in this moment. A bit later, Ophelia regains her composure. I am sorry, Your Highness, for crying like a fool, she says. But I have calmed down a bit now. Winfred shakes his head gently. No need to apologize, he says. Still, this is such a strange coincidence, is it not? I never expected the girl I met to be a noble lady. Ophelia chuckles. Perhaps it is fate, a thread of destiny connecting you and A. He asks in surprise. Fate? What do you mean? She nods, explaining that Allah was actually his fiancée once upon a time. Roderic's face darkens instantly. My lady, that subject. Ophelia quickly tries to fix it. Of course, I was only joking about that. Winfred turns bright red. What? Allah was my fiancé. He suddenly remembers Hiram's words. Is this what it feels like to be in love? His face gets even redder. After a long silence, Winfred finally shouts, What are you talking about? Ophelia just smiles and starts the story. It happened like this at the palace, she says. Years ago, Hiram called out from the garden. It is a beautiful day. Wind, come here. It is time to eat. Young Winfred replied that he could not come yet. Hiram looked surprised and asked him why that was. He replied, It is nothing special. I just want to keep watching A for a little while longer. Is that not allowed? After a stunned silence, Hiram and Ophelia share a laugh. She asks playfully, Really? Is little a really that adorable to you? Winfred stammers. Well, not exactly. Hiram cheers. In that case, we should definitely move forward with the engagement for you two. Roderic's face falls. Please do not say that, even as a joke. Hiram tilts his head. Why? My son would make a wonderful husband. Roderic shakes his head. It is not that the prince is unworthy. Hiram asks, Then is the problem me? Am I the issue? Do you not like your future in-law? What is wrong? Roderic nods. It is exactly how you are acting right now. Winfred turns to his mother. What does getting engaged mean? He asks. She replies, Well, it is when two people promise to get married to each other one day. They swear to love and protect each other forever. Winfred looks at A, seriously for a moment, then smiles. Then I want to do that with A. Roderic immediately roars. Absolutely not. It is way too early to be discussing marriage with AA, he yells. Even if you are the prince, we will wait until she is old enough. Hiram laughs. Goodness, calm down. Why are you being so serious? Ha ha, Roderic asks. Were you not being serious? Your Majesty, Hiram cries out. I am sorry. Please stop looking at me with those terrifying eyes. Winfred shouts out with determination. I am not joking about this. I am going to marry A. Hiram nods. Back in the present, Ophelia finishes, and that is exactly how the story went. Winfred clutched his burning face, thinking it was even more embarrassing than he imagined. Ophelia continued, Your panic was adorable, but it made me very happy. It was a beautiful day surrounded by the people I love most. I do not think any day could be more perfect than that. Soon, when you marry, there will surely be more days like this. I had forgotten that I could even dream of such a bright future. Because of you, I have hope again. Thank you, truly. Winfred felt guilty, realizing he had shown his respect far too late. She is being so sincere, yet I am showing my gratitude so late. How can I possibly return such kindness? He thought carefully. Maybe this is it. Meanwhile, the carriage carrying Allah was moving steadily through the deep forest. Suddenly, Clow blocked the path, saying seriously, Stop the carriage right now. Seeing him, the driver let out a sigh of relief. Mr. Clow, you look exactly like a highway robber. He paused to think. Perhaps he had a point. Laura cried out, I am no thief, I am a fur merchant. Did you really have to show up looking like that? Clow sighed helplessly. It could not be helped, Laura. Security is tighter now. We had to split up and plan to regroup later on. Setting up the base was my mission, so the others still do not know the way inside yet. He admitted he was a bit worried about Allah. Cloud walked to the back of the carriage to check on her. He asked, My lady, are you ready to come out? Allah asked in surprise, Are we there already? Clow frowned at her. Your fever has not broken yet. Laura is worried. It would be dangerous to use disguised medicine while sick. He told her that health comes before secrecy. Get her a warm cloak first. Laura looked at him in total shock. Uncle, do you actually care about the young lady? He shook his head quickly. No, Laura, that is not it. The important thing right now is Allah suddenly pointed behind them. Look, talk later. We need to move now. Seeing the knights approach, Laura panicked. What now? Clow stayed calm. Running looks suspicious. Just act like normal merchants as planned. The lady lowered her head and stayed silent. Soon, a red knight arrived with two others trailing behind him. Sorry to bother you, but we are the Eastern Patrol Knights on duty. There have been many robberies lately, so we must verify your identity. Claw stayed cool. I am Ben, a simple fur merchant. I just picked up some imports from the port and I am heading home now. The red knight asked, Can you prove you are a merchant? Clow answered, Yes, I have the ledgers inside. While they spoke, the black-haired knight in back thought, Wait, I think I have seen this man before. He thought for a moment and froze. His eyes locked onto the scar under Claw's eye. Right then, the knight drew his sword and swung. The red knight yelled, What are you doing so suddenly? He focused his attack on Claw. I saw him on a wanted poster. These are the ones Nexon has been circulating for years. The red knight froze in shock. What? Call for reinforcements immediately. Clow thought angrily. Alexia, you idiot. Now there is no way for us to turn back. Cloud jumped into the fight. He thought he should wipe them all out and retreat before things got out of hand. As he thought that, Alice suddenly shouted. The black-haired knight stopped, wondering what was happening. My hand suddenly lost its grip on the sword, but honestly, this is not too bad. Allah said, Let me fight alongside you. This is the perfect chance to test my skills. The knight was shocked a girl would Clow blocked her path, saying you are too weak to fight. Allah blinked her eyes. If not now, when will I ever get real combat experience? She knew she had to stop Claw's killing intent, so she kept her expression icy. And you lot, do not think of running. Are you really calling backup for just me? The knight said, We have no reason to listen to you. Just then, Allah shouted, Give me the sword. All three knights froze. The blonde knight asked, What do we do? Do we call for backup? The Red Knight shook his head. No, just do as she says. Allah shouted again for the sword. The Red Knight said, the bounty never mentioned a child who could use a sword. Honestly, we cannot win against an Aga swordsman. Keeping our lives and getting info is better. The blonde knight nodded slowly. True, but before he could finish, the black-haired knight cut in. Let me face the girl alone first. Clow had finished thinking. He spoke calmly. No, all of you, come at her together. Clow handed her a sword, telling her she must fight all three for 30 minutes. If you fail, I will step in and end this immediately. Allah nodded her head. The knight hesitated. 3 against 1 child? She narrowed her eyes. Do not underestimate me because I am small. Let us go. Later, when Byron arrived, he asked in shock, so this is my daughter? She took down all those knights alone? Right there in front of him, Allah was kneeling on the ground, surrounded by 3 knights she had completely crushed. She tilted her head back, gasping for air without stopping. When the dark-haired knight beside her stirred, Allah drove her blade into the ground and hissed, quiet. If you get caught now, you are definitely going to die. He froze in disbelief. She had carefully avoided every vital spot just to knock them out. This girl was something else entirely. Cloud cut in, saying she claimed she would handle the reinforcements alone. Byron looked stunned. Really? That is absolutely beyond anything I imagined. Allah turned back and told him she only wanted to help her father. He let out a satisfied laugh. I know exactly how good my daughter is, he said. Hearing him laugh made Allah grip her sword tight, wondering if she should just end him right then. She squeezed the hilt of her sword so hard her hands began to tremble. One quick turn and a single thrust could pierce his defenseless heart. It was a golden opportunity that might never come again, but I have to endure it while this curse is still carved into me. She stood up and thanked him for the compliment. Byron kept up his friendly act as he spoke. Come closer. You must be exhausted. You are covered in dust. I hope your hair is not too much of a mess. Luckily, it looks fine. Just then, the dark-haired knight caught a glimpse of her hair and thought, silver hair? Does the first prince actually have a daughter? Cloud spoke up quickly, saying they needed to move. Byron nodded and told them to unload the luggage from the carriage first. We have already passed the main checkpoint. Traveling in just one carriage will draw much less suspicion. The dark-haired knight panicked. If they left now, Byron would escape again. Damn it. Even if it takes every last bit of my strength, I have to catch him. Before he could make a move, Allah quickly warned him not to do it. Take your comrades and go. Do not even think about chasing us. I am not on Byron's side, but now is not the time. Please, tell that to whoever comes looking for us later. Seeing her standing there, Laura shouted for her to hurry up. Allah replied that she was coming. The carriage slowly rolled away as the sky grew dark. Once they set up camp in the forest, Cloud curiously asked what happened to the others. Byron answered that he told them to wait at the old base. Master Capella still had not shown up, so he had to go back for him. Cloud kept questioning him, asking if they were skipping the base. He nodded, saying security was tighter than he expected. We should head there now. Cloud suggested going to the underground district. We have plenty of treasure to negotiate for that woman's help if we handle things very carefully. Allah was silently surprised. The underground? Who was this woman? Byron frowned and asked if he had lost his mind. He had suffered enough in that hellhole 11 years ago. No matter what, he would never set foot there again. Seeing his reaction, she wondered to herself, what kind of nightmare place could that actually be? Cloud asked where they were going instead. Byron thought for a moment and said they might head to Inselkopf. Laura gasped, realizing it was another country. He just shrugged and asked why she was acting so surprised. I know a smuggler who works that area. If we manage to cross the border, the Count will likely arrange a safe hideout for us. Allah was secretly impressed by how far Byron's connections reached. After a moment, Byron ordered them to tell the driver to head to his specified location. Cloud quickly replied that he would. Meanwhile, in a completely different place, Alexia burst through the door. Who is the knight who saw Byron? Was it you? From this moment on, you will answer all of my questions. The doctor cried out, yes, Sir Non, but this man is badly injured. Please, try to stay calm for a moment. The dark-haired knight said it was fine, as he needed to report about the silver-haired girl who helped them anyway. Seeing Alexia's confusion, he began to explain exactly how it happened. As Alexia listened, she grew more stunned. This is impossible. Even during the investigation in Primus 3 years ago, there were rumors about a silver-haired person. A long strand of hair was found on the prince's cloak, but it was kept secret due to lack of evidence. So she really is alive and has been with Byron this whole time. The lady of the Wifon family is here. The dark-haired knight continued, saying she had mentioned something quite strange. Alexia frowned. Something strange? He slowly explained that she said now was not the time to catch Byron. Alexia sat there stunned, wondering what she meant. If this testimony is true, she is using the era-style swordsmanship, and she even called Byron her father. In other words, she was raised as Byron's daughter but knows her true identity. She is a sharp girl. These were definitely not just random words. The dark-haired knight asked hesitantly what they should do. If they sent a pursuit team now, they might find a trail. Alex shook his head and said they would not send anyone. You and all the other knights must keep this a total secret. The knight asked in surprise if he really believed that girl's words. Alexia shook her head. Whether I believe her or not is not the point. That is not as important as the truth we have uncovered. She is a hostage now. Chasing Byron recklessly would put her life in grave danger. For now, I will return to the royal palace to report. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince is already on his way back. A moment later, Winfred smiled and said, Sir Nexon, you have worked so hard, riding through the night. She nodded back, Yes, I have returned. He continued, I was truly caught off guard yesterday. I never expected something so urgent that you would have to travel all the way east. It turns out that after Allah was defeated, a knight rushed to the Wapfan estate with an urgent letter to deliver an emergency report. Thinking back on it, Alexia bowed and said, I take full responsibility. It is shameful that I left the Crown Prince's protection to the Duke's family. Winfred shook his head and said, There was no other choice. Besides, it gave me a chance to have a peaceful night at my teacher's home. Then it seems you managed to gather some very important information. Winfred turned to him and said, It seems even my teacher is preparing to join us. Alexia replied, Yes, I will give a full report at the palace. In the Imperial Palace conference room, after listening to Alexia's report, Hiram finally spoke up. Let me summarize. Lady Alla of the Wapfan family is still alive. Under the guardianship of my foolish brother, she even sent a message demanding that we stop our pursuit. What does everyone make of this situation? Roderic chose to stay silent, but Alexia raised her hand. Hiram nodded. Speak, Sir Nexon. You have the floor. She stood up immediately. According to the reports, the young lady has the talent of a master swordsman. Standing alone against Imperial knights at the border is no small feat, so the idea that she cannot escape now simply doesn't add up. As she spoke, everyone turned to look at Winfred. He spoke up as well. That is true. Even a few years ago, Alla always acted like she could just walk away at any moment. She would not promise to return unless she was confident. Hiram frowned. So we all agree the girl has her own reasons for acting this way. The real question is, what exactly is that reason? A sudden thought flashed through Roderic's mind. He spoke up. Should we launch an official Imperial investigation into the nobility? The conference room suddenly fell into a heavy silence. After a long pause, Hiram frowned. Are you trying to stir up the high nobility? Roderic explained. We have been tracking them from the west. We finally located his hideout, but we arrived one step too late. The place had already been abandoned. Isn't that right? There were signs of a very hasty exit, yet a massive amount of luggage had been moved out. Winfred realized that must be why she was in the west. He continued, For a force of that size to withdraw so quickly, it means some powerful entity is backing them. Hiram's face darkened. You are suggesting a foreign power? It is possible. But foreign influence can only go so far. You understand what that implies? Roderic said bluntly. There must be a collaborator right here inside our own borders. The remnants of the rebellion are still clearly active. The conference room once again fell into a deep, uneasy silence. Hiram spoke in a low voice. When I took the throne, I was extremely careful in handling the rebels, and you were the one in charge back then. In other words, that statement is a declaration that both I, the Emperor, and you are completely incompetent. I will give you one chance to take those words back. Duke Roderic replied calmly, "No, I will not take them back." The atmosphere in the room suddenly became incredibly tense. Winfred stammered out, Father." At that moment, Hiram abruptly changed his tone. "Fine. First, get the list from the Internal Affairs Bureau." Roderic nodded. "I will personally arrange the schedule." Seeing the shock on Winfresh's face, Alexia leaned in and explained, "Your Highness, you have only recently started attending these meetings. Believe me, those men are always like this." Hiram turned to him with a smile. "A subject who speaks his mind to the Emperor, a friend who tells the truth that is a rare treasure. My son, you should cherish the connections you make in life and learn to choose friends who are worthy." Winfred politely replied, "Yes, Father." After his lesson, Hiram returned to the main topic. "So, the lady's inability to return, could it be related to that?" Roderic nodded slightly. "It is only a theory for now, but likely, even if it's vague, I want to do my best to uncover the truth. Since she promised she would return, I must do my part to live up to the title of her father." That evening, in a rough part of town, the carriage driver stopped and asked hesitantly, "Ma'am, is this really your destination?" Candace, dressed in a black cloak, replied, "Yes, this is it. I will return shortly." The driver muttered to himself, "A strange one. Be careful coming back. This place has long been a den for dangerous people. I will wait exactly 3 hours, just as we agreed. Make it quick and get back here." Candace nodded. "I will be back soon." She stepped inside, looking around and thinking she had found the right spot. These dangerous streets are exactly the kind of places where the real information is whispered in the shadows. Those other two live such upright lives. They would never dream of setting foot in a place like this. In times like this, since I am her friend, I have to step up and act in their place. Even if I cannot find an informant immediately, I will start by going to the largest tavern around here. Right then, a sudden scream echoed through the air. Candace whipped her head around in surprise. Was that a scream? It seemed Laura was being harassed by 2 thugs who claimed they were just having fun. She screamed, "Let me go." Candace immediately realized the girl was in grave danger. Laura cried out in fear, "I was just trying to get some work done." Candace gritted her teeth and surged forward. "I have to help her. I'll use magic." Suddenly, a dark shadow streaked across the sky above. Ayla landed softly, catching a thug's neck in a leg lock. He gasped in shock. "Wait, what the hell is this?" There was a sickening crack. The thug's eyes bulged as he collapsed silently. The other man frowned and shouted, "What is this? Who are you?" Ayla didn't answer. She lunged forward, driving her knee into him and sending the man straight to the dirt. It happened in seconds. Before Candace could even cast a spell, Ayla had already taken out both of the thugs. She stepped closer. "Found you at last. Father is furious that you're late." Looking closer at her face, Candace froze. Those piercing blue eyes. What's going on? Who exactly is this mysterious girl anyway?